Okay, yeah. Here we are, folks. We have done it. We have made it. We are here. It is Wednesday, October 14th, 2020. It is 8 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour PM if you are coming to us from an Eastern time zone. If you are coming to us from a Pacific time zone, it is 6:08 PM. If you're coming to us from any other time zone, I'm sorry. I don't know what time it is. I am James. You are you. We are here for another edition of At Home with James, an evening of comedy, conversation, and so much more. Folks, before we really get in to the meat and potatoes of the evening, the first thing I want to do is say hello to all of our returning viewers and trusted audience members right here on twitch.tv/@home-with-James, where you can find us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, sometimes on Sunday mornings, and of course, sometimes on Saturday nights. What I have to do, if we have any first-time viewers, welcome. I've got tea and coffee and cookies and little donut balls laid out for you. Unfortunately, you are coming to us by way of the information superhighway where you can't enjoy any of those delicious treats, so I will be eating them into the early hours of the morning. If you are here for the first time, I want to thank you for joining us. If you're here as a returning member of our trusted fan base, I love you. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us right here on Twitch. If you want to make a little bit of a donation, we'd appreciate that. It goes to all of our technicians in the booth who work tirelessly to make me look and sound like one of the coolest guys on the nerdiest website on the internet. Of course, talking about Twitch. Folks, this is going to be a big show tonight. This is going to be a very big show, but I have to let you know something that over the past 5 to 6 days, I have consumed 10 homemade hamburgers on my pursuit of cooking the perfect burger, and my stomach is not in a right place. So I'm a little worried that at some point during the course of this show, I will need to leave to visit my home facilities. But my hope is that I will be able to funnel and use any type of intestinal fortitude that I have left in my body to make it through the next hour and change, because tonight is a big episode. It is episode 140 something. I don't know which to be exact, but we're in the 140s now. Joining us this evening for a full-length, long-form conversation will be my friend, longtime friend, but also the current reigning WWE Intercontinental Champion and WWE Superstar, Sami Zayn. This is a guy who, on the first night of me broadcasting this show, all the way back in the old days of Instagram, this guy was literally trolling me in my own chat. What kind of friend does that? He's trying to break me while I'm on my screen. And I'm going to tell you something. I was nervous. I was real nervous. And he did break me. Tonight, I've got a couple surprises up my sleeve for one Sami Zayn. Before we get into that, I need to thank our technician this evening, Dave the Big Rig Kaufman. Dave, how's it going, buddy?
It's going good, James. It's going good.
Yeah, are you excited?
Very excited, sure.
I mean, is that your level? You've hit your top level of excitement?
Oh yeah, James. This is me. I am pumped.
You're pumped. Okay, well, of course, Sami Zayn, pro wrestler. Did you ever spend any time watching wrestling, Dave?
Huge wrestling fan.
Okay, currently?
Oh yeah.
So your tone is oozing with facetiousness.
No, I used to watch wrestling. I still like it, but I used to watch when I was big.
You're not a super fan. When
I'm not
did you
a super
start?
fan. You know, I'm not in in the stands yelling Vader or anything like that.
Yeah, that was his main chant. Vader.
Yeah.
Hey, Vader.
Yeah, but I like uh I like wrestling, you know.
Yeah. You couldn't sound any more disingenuous. Well, who were some of your favorites growing up as a kid when you were watching wrestling? Of course, besides Vader.
Oh, I mean, Vader was huge. Yokozuna was big.
So
Jake
you
the
have a
Snake.
penchant. You have a penchant for the big man.
Oh, I like a nice hefty wrestler.
Okay, a hefty wrestler.
Yeah,
Okay,
Andre the Giant.
sure.
Uh,
Also, these are all deceased wrestlers.
yeah. Yeah, I like a nice. Okay, I'm not even. I like a nice dead wrestler.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to you know. There's a lot of great memories that come with the more the wrestlers of the deceased persuasion.
Yeah, for sure. Who's a living one that I like? I actually don't know. What's Sexual Chocolate?
Mark Henry.
Mark Henry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's retired now.
Okay, great. I'm happy that
Another
he's
hefty wrestler.
a hefty wrestler, another hefty guy.
So you only like fat wrestlers.
I love a wrestler that likes to eat.
Okay, so if they're on the smaller side, a cruiserweight or a lightweight, you're turning the TV off. That's when you start chanting Vader.
That's when I go make a sandwich in the kitchen, James.
So, yeah, so you can somehow live the same life that Yokozuna or maybe Mark Henry is living.
Exactly.
Well, that's great. Are you excited for tonight's guest?
Oh, absolutely.
What's your favorite Sami Zayn match?
Oh my God, where to start? Which one? They're all so good.
Yeah.
How to rank them?
Yeah.
I don't know. What name a couple and.
Well, he's had a really great rivalry with Kevin Owens.
That was a great one. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. A particularly legendary match with Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh yeah, I mean, riveting match.
Yeah.
Well, I would say it's one of the best matches of all time.
Of all time. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're working on your levels of executing successful lies throughout the course of the night.
No, I mean, look. To be honest, I haven't watched wrestling. It's been a while, as
we
Stained
all
used to say.
We clued. Yeah, thanks for that Stained reference.
Yeah.
We clued into the fact that all of the wrestlers you enjoy are from the not. When did you stop watching wrestling?
Definitely early 2000s.
Okay, was there a reason that things changed? You just got older. You got a girlfriend.
I got older. The world changed. 9/11 happened. Things got serious. And I stopped tuning in, but that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate a good wrestle.
Yeah, a good wrestle, spoken like a true non-wrestling fan. Well, Dave, we're going to check in with you a little bit later on. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
I'm excited. Folks, I'm excited too. I don't want to keep anyone waiting. Thank you so much for tuning in right here on Twitch. I am James. You are watching At Home with James. Let us welcome our first and only guest this evening. It is so rare that we have a one guest show, but tonight we're doing it. It is a special occasion because this is the Sam Jam Super Special right here on At Home with James. Our first and only guest is, of course, a WWE superstar. You can see him weekly on Friday nights as part of SmackDown, which airs on Fox as well as Sportsnet 360. Sami Zayn, welcome to At Home with James.
Hello.
Yeah, it was an incredibly delayed response. You were like looking down. It's like you were reading like a fun article that you pull yourself away from.
Yeah.
Well, reading like something reading something striking from Huffington Post.
What I was doing is I was going to tweet on this tablet.
Let's do it right now.
Yeah, I wrote, I'm on live right now, and I just tweeted it. And I was trying to time it for, when we went live.
Yeah, you wouldn't have wanted people to see that first quick segment with our technician talking about Vader.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. He had a particularity that really started to show up.
Well, there's something so special about the non-wrestling fan who knows, but is so out of touch.
Yeah.
And Yokozuna often comes up.
I feel like most of the people I talk to, and this is, I wish this wasn't the case, but when people that I don't know, when I interact with someone new, like I don't know why the first thing that's coming to my head is like a border agent. When I'm crossing the border and they ask me what I do, and I say, oh, I'm a wrestler. And they say, for who? And I say, for WWE. And they go, oh, suddenly their eyes get big.
They
and
become a kid again.
They recollect these old memories, and they never are really up to date with the product, which unfortunately sucks for me.
Yeah.
It sucks for us right now, but they all. I'm going to throw this back to a story with you. Remember when we went to the sheepdog, something that happened with your man Dave there reminded me of that time we went to the Sheepdogs concert.
Right. For people who don't know, the Sheepdogs are kind of a Canadian folk rock band, kind of a blend of the Allman Brothers and the Guess Who. You and I don't know, at least 8 years ago, went to see them at the Fairmount Theater on Fairmount in the Mile End. I know exactly what story you're going to tell. So yeah, take it away.
Well, it's hazy, so you'll probably do a better job, but you nudged me and you did your classic James, take a look at this guy.
Right, which generally stands for, oh, look, there's some type of human oddity or some type of person behaving in an eccentric way.
Get a load of this guy. And I look, and I think you say, or I say, I don't remember, but he looked just like Big John Studd.
Yeah.
Have hefty deceased wrestler.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So I'm sure Dave would have loved him.
Yeah, loves Big John Studd.
It might have predated him a tiny bit, but I'm
that
sure
might be why he's
that.
not. That's why Dave's not in touch with current wrestling, because everyone's alive. He's like, I like them more when they pass away. The thing about this Sheepdog concert is we spotted this guy, this Big John Studd lookalike from across the room.
Yeah.
But then he ended up migrating towards us, to which you said.
So I said, I have to tell him this.
Yeah.
And you started getting giddy.
Yeah, of course.
So I went up to him and I said, hey, excuse me, has anyone ever told you that you look like Big John Studd?
Yeah.
Now, so most people, again, would not know who Big John Studd is.
Oh, not this guy, though.
But to our amazement, he said, oh, yeah, I get that all the time.
Yeah, but do you remember?
Yes,
Yeah.
He goes, oh, I get that all the time. I get them all. Big John Studd, Sasquatch.
What was great is that, like, as the concert, like, we've gone, it was a conversation where the pleasantries were exchanged for, if it was 45 seconds, that was about it.
Yeah.
We're watching this Sheepdogs concert, and then across the room, you notice another tall guy. You nudge this stud / would she pronounce Sasquatch? Like there's a W in the word.
How do you say it?
He said, well, we all say Sasquatch.
What do they say? Sasquatch? But that might be, maybe he was American, because Americans,
it could have been. It could have been
things like that.
Because
they mock my hard A.
Yeah.
When I'm in America, when I say pasta, and they're like, pasta, it's pasta.
Yeah, but you know what? Just let people live. Just let people live.
Leave me alone, man.
Which is exactly which is what you didn't do to this guy. You're like, I didn't.
Yeah,
I nudge him.
Yeah.
An hour later, because there was some other guy, and you're like,
okay,
hey man, check it out. That guy looks like Big John Studd too.
I vaguely remember that. Did I say that to you or to him?
No, you said it to him, and at this point, he was like, "Nah, I don't know." He just wanted to listen to the music. So we're here talking about leaving people alone based off the way that we pronounce pasta or pasta. Meanwhile, you're telling this guy something that may have haunted him his whole life.
No, because he actually, if I remember, and again, your memory and my memory may be a little different on this, but I remember him kind of lighting up when I said you kind of look like Big John Studd. He was like, "Oh yeah." It warmed his heart a little bit.
It warmed his heart. Folks, if you're just tuning in right now, I am James. You're here with us right now with Sami Zayn right here on At Home with James. If you're new to the show, thanks so much for joining us. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, stories about dead wrestlers and Sasquatches and Sami Zayn accosting people at Canadian rock band concerts, give us a follow, give us a subscribe. We'd appreciate it. I want to touch on, because you mentioned talking to this guy to my delight. I have a true giddiness of when you get yourself not necessarily in trouble, but in certain situations, which immediately sparks the memory of when you did an open mic stand-up night.
Oh my God.
Grumpy's in Montreal.
I remember the place being called Grimby's, but I think that, why do I remember?
Well, this is the deal. Like, you and I had went to go see Montreal Canadiens game. They won. We're riding a high. The arena is right in the Montreal's downtown core. And then we're walking on Bishop, which is a very active, fun street. You see a sandwich board that says open mic signups. You go in and sign up, and then you begin stressing for like the next 30 to 45. We found ourselves in an alley, and you're going over your supposed material.
Well, let me back up a little bit. This might be on the heels of the first time I ever did an open mic, which was in Chicago with comedian and wrestling figure Marty DeRosa. So he's a stand-up comic in Chicago. And so he, I told him it was something I always wanted to do. And he kind of coaxed me into doing it. And I did an open mic and it went pretty well. And I thought, I think I got this.
Yeah.
So I think I was still riding that high a little bit. And then I don't recall the details of this at all. I thought this Grimby's or Grumpy's, I thought it was an established Montreal. Is it not?
Well, it is. It is, but as the years have gone by, I think their open mic night has been known to be kind of a mess.
Well, in the sense that the hard way that night.
Oh, you did. You learned the hard way, and it was probably one of my top 3 favorite stand-up moments of all time because you're up there.
No one was listening.
Nobody is paying attention. And then this is when you botch, you start to become totally despondent. It's like, here's this guy that wrestles in front of thousands of adoring fans, but the close collective group of people at Grumpy's couldn't have cared less about, I don't even remember what your material was, but in a sea of silence blended with noise and ambient bar
I wish it was silence. There was because the open mic wasn't exclusive to comedy. It was also music.
Yes.
So there were people playing the piano and flutes and guitars while I was trying to tell jokes. No one was listening. No one except you.
Yeah.
So I think after a minute or a minute and a half, I think I just started saying whatever just to make you laugh.
Yeah. This is when you drop maybe my favorite stand-up line of all time, which of course you're performing at a bar called Grumpy's, and you're just kind of like wandering around with your eyes, and you're like, yeah, I'm having a great time here tonight. Right here at Grimby's. And this is when I'm at the bar and I just like, this is the best stand-up I've ever, and I've seen all the greats.
Yeah, I have a very vague recollection of that. And I'll tell you, that one didn't go so well. And so I still thought I had maybe another ace up my sleeve at this whole open mic thing. And so next time I'm in Chicago, I'm with Marty DeRosa again and Colt Cabana and actually Pac. Formerly known as Neville, and we're in Chicago, and I don't remember the details of how or why, but we ended up at an open mic. And the first time didn't even go that well. It went okay
but
best.
When it goes okay, it's like your first wrestling match. If it's not totally a mess, the way you succeed is different.
And as you can see here, and this is before I'm talking in my wrestling career, this is back when I'm covered up. And so I'm not really talking very much, but you know me and I'm lively. I have no problem, chatting people up and just joining a group and making people laugh. So I just figured, I got this.
Yeah.
But I didn't got it. I had no preparation. I kind of remembered 1 or 2 jokes that I had told them the very, very first time that Marty told me did really well. So he said, hey, tell that joke again. That killed. That was your best joke. And I was like, as if I was a 15-year vet and I was tired of my own material. I was like, no, I'm going to try some new stuff.
Yeah. Was it your second or your third?
And I'm dismissing this guy's advice, which is totally correct. And he's a pro. And I'm like, no, that was that. This new stuff. So I go up there with no planning, just very loose ideas for, I'll tell that story about my dad, or I'll tell this story. And zero preparation really. And I went out there and I bombed worse than anything I've ever experienced.
Worse than Grumpy's?
Grimby's was MSG compared to this.
Sold out a Holiday Havoc tour.
Oh yeah. This was far and away, probably to this day, the most embarrassing moment of my life.
That was your Altamont.
Altamont.
I knew that reference was not going to land.
What's that?
Yeah, I don't want to bring it down, but the famous Rolling Stones concert where they employed the Hells Angels to be their security guards, and it went horribly wrong, and some of them punched out a member of Jefferson Airplane and then stabbed someone.
Yeah, I watched a documentary about that not long ago.
Yeah, Gimme Shelter.
Oh, is that it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was your Altamont. I should have gone with that was your Vietnam.
Ooh. Apples and oranges a little
Apples
bit
and oranges.
One. Yeah.
Now I'm really fascinated by the idea of like getting this advice. Like, nah, I can't lean on the old stuff. What if someone saw the first act? They're gonna say this guy. This is the second time I've seen this guy. He's always doing the same stuff about his dad. For some reason, there's a Brooklyn guy. It's a Brooklyn guy.
Anyways, that was probably the most humiliating night of my life. And I haven't done stand-up comedy since. We've done improv a few times. It's went very well, but I've had you as a partner on stage to sort of, as a crutch, you know? And
well, in fairness, and that's what I wanted to shift gears towards. I wanted to start on a low note, which was the slight rise and immediate fall of your stand-up career. And then what we have discovered collectively as an improv tandem. And you can't ask for a better debut than at the Just for Laughs festival.
That went well. It went really well. And I was really nervous for that because it's so far out of my element, but really it's not, you know, I mean, it's more or less what I kind of do with wrestling already in some way, shape or form, but it's not my discipline. It's not my medium. So I was very, very nervous for that. That went really, really well. Well, that bit me, that bug bit me. And we've done it a few times since then. And it's gone really well every single time.
Yeah. We have yet to bomb.
Yeah.
We have yet to bomb.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, look, we've done it a few times in front of 50, 100 people. But some pretty decent shows. That one at the Bad Dog Theater that was sold out in Toronto. Yep. The Just for Laughs one in Montreal that was sold out. Still not a lot of people, but it was a great energy. Yep. I don't know. It's been good. It's been fun. It's something I'd like to do more if this damn COVID.
Well, yeah, that's the thing that I want to touch on is there's some things that bond us outside of friendship. One of them, of course, being wrestling. But of course, I think the overarching thing is the fact that you and I think might be destined and have been put on this earth to be in front of crowds. And you and I are suffering from the same malaise right now. One of us worse than others. And when I say worse, I, of course, mean me, in the sense that you're still performing. Well, in fair, you know, this is kind of my Thunderdome.
But hang on.
But nobody signs up to be here.
One of the other things I've really enjoyed in this time is actually even doing this right now. It's a lot of fun for me. Yeah. I've done a couple of podcasts. I did one with Blind Boy, who's a really big podcaster.
Which was a fantastic listen.
Oh, you listened to it. Oh yeah. You texted me about it. I remember. And I did one with the New Day. That was a lot of fun. I love doing podcasts. And that's like, it's a different medium. It's still, you know, you're entertaining and you're talking and whatever. And even this is very different what you're doing here, this sort of live stream thing. It's very different, but it's still a creative outlet of sorts.
Well, and that's, right? I want to talk about the realm of creativity a little bit now that we're on it. I think that certainly given your situation, you're performing in front of no one. It went from being absolutely no one to having the NXT kind of trainees around the ring. And now
I missed that time period.
Yeah. Now
so I went straight from no one to the Thunderdome.
Well, okay. So how does this differ for you? That's something I'm interested in. Do you feel any type of energy? Because right now, and this is kind of leading me to kind of make a statement about this, is that I think when it comes to creating art or creating performance art, where there is a will, there's generally a way. It's very easy, I think, to be like, nah, it's not the way that I'm used to it being. I want to take a step back or whatever, which is a viable option if you choose to do so. But I think if it's kind of embedded in you to want to create stuff, where there is a will, there is a way.
Yeah. And so this is why I'm not even sure I'm not sure it's performance, even though I do feel like in my soul or whatever that, you know, performance is this thing that I really love to do. It's also, I think it's just creativity in general, because a podcast, I guess it is creative, but it is a different medium than being a pro wrestler in the middle of a ring in an arena. But I still take a lot of joy, and I really, really enjoy doing it. to the point where I'd love to even do my own podcast eventually, but I feel like that might be something that I'd like to do a little further down the road.
Sure.
Or even, you know, write a book or whatever. Just, I got all these things on my mind. And, you know, even like how you use Twitter or how you were using Instagram or Instagram Live to do this show. It's all just like new avenues to pursue, but the end goal is just creativity. I don't know that it's down necessarily just to performing in front of an audience, which I'll always love. I don't know if I'll ever just not enjoy that. I think I'll always love that. And I think you'll always love that. But if that's not available to us right now, which it isn't available to anybody right now, there are other ways of still being creative. And that's what you're doing right now with the show.
Yeah. Well,
and for those that don't know, the Thunderdome, what that is, in case, I don't know, whoever's watching this, is basically they rented out an arena, but instead of filling the stands with people, they filled it with giant LED boards and had a virtual audience. And you know what? This was what was shocking. I think my first actual match, no, it wasn't. My second match in the Thunderdome was this ladder match with Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles. And, you know, ladder matches hurt. You've been hit with ladders, you know.
No, yeah, no. Luckily, I've never been in a ladder match, and it's at the point now where ever. Yeah, who's going to put me in? I am the least mobile cruiserweight in Quebec wrestling history.
Yeah, well, I mean, still, you've been wrestling a long time. I thought a ladder would have been in your career in there somewhere. Either way, those WWE ladders especially, they're no joke. They're not the aluminum ones. They hurt so much more. And you would think the opposite. You'd think it's WWE, so they have, like, you know, more protective gear or whatever. No, they're way worse than any ladders on the independents ever. Well,
I want to touch on that. So having been in a multitude of ladder matches, whether it's on the independents or in WWE, like the one that you did at WrestleMania all those years ago, did anything differ from going through that type of physical punishment in front of a crowd as opposed to in front of a bunch of LED boards?
That was going to be my point. Is going into the match, I thought, man, these matches really hurt. And usually the thing that gets you through these matches is the adrenaline from that live performance, and the people's energy is what powers you through these sort of matches. So I was really worried before I did the match that, how's this going to be? Shockingly, I was totally fine. And yeah, stuff hurt, but I was still in that performance mindset. So I think it really is more of a mindset. The energy is a wonderful bonus, but it's really the mindset and the place you go to when you're creating something or when you're performing something. That was pretty much the same. I almost didn't notice a difference. Yeah. Only when I got back, I thought about it later and I thought, oh man, that would have been so much better with an audience there. But you know what? Even the finish we did, not to bore everybody with the details of the whole match and how it went down, but the finish of the match worked a lot better. It was for people at home. It was for television. It had to be shot right. There were tight shots. There were reveals that maybe wouldn't have translated as well to a live audience. I don't know. All I know is I really, really miss the audience. I miss humans. I miss human interaction. I miss even the dumbest of dumb fans that you normally get so angry at. Vader. Old Dave over there.
Yeah, now you know if you're ever having a match, like you're in like this long drawn out match, the emotions are high, the tensions are high. Maybe the crowd's getting a little quiet, right? It's you. Maybe it's you and Finn Balor. You're working your way up. It's quiet. You hear the rumbling, bum 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 bum, and then just Vader, Vader.
Yeah, we'll know who that is.
Yeah, it'll be great. I think more wrestling matches need to have moments ruined by fans. There's something so satisfying about just going down a YouTube rabbit hole where it's like, oh, look, it's Marty Jannetty versus Pat Tanaka from a Madison Square Garden house show. And you just you're watching it and then you hear someone just drop the most rude insults from the crowd. Just stuff offensive, but back in 1990, it was oh, it's no problem.
Yeah.
Or Undertaker's walking to the ring and just someone's got their middle finger in his face. They would never have. I remember seeing some footage. A fan pulled his hat off.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Is that on a Coliseum video thing?
It's a Coliseum video exclusive. I own the tape. I hate to do this, Sammy. I'm getting a production note from Dave in the booth. He wants to know, quote, can you pop your mic over your beard? Your giant beard is.
Oh, am I muffling it?
Yeah, we're getting a bit of feedback. Folks, if you're watching
Thanks.
right now, this is Sami Zayn. I am James. You are at home with James. Thank you for those who have liked, subscribed, and followed right now. I need to thank the anonymous gifter for the subscriptions that they pass along, not only to this show, but to people in the chat. Getting back to it, I'm curious to know your take, Sami. Where do you foresee the next 6 months of wrestling going? Do you think we'll be in kind of this scope of COVID times pro wrestling? Is this just what we got to buckle up for?
Yeah, I think so. I think I actually like the Thunderdome. I really do. I like how it looks on television. I like how it feels when I'm out there. Is the audio better, by the way, there, Dave? Yeah, all right. Okay. I really like the Thunderdome. And so if it were up to me, COVID's kind of a mess, especially in the States. And I'm okay with not traveling, not getting back to shows. I think in 6 months' time, at best, maybe we'll be in. I think AEW kind of has fans, but they're spread out or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
they're kind of scattered, like I think away in the stands, something to that extent.
I mean, maybe it would get to that, but honestly, I think the Thunderdome looks better on television, and it still kind of maintains the ambiance. I don't know. I'm okay with the Thunderdome.
One thing that I wanted to ask, and I've been curious about it since I've been watching. Are they like pumping in any type of ambient noise like they were doing at hockey games?
I think so. I'm not sure if it might be a combination is what it is. I think it's a combination of the fans noise and ambient noise. I don't know. All I know is when I'm out there, I don't really notice a giant difference. So I think there might be a bit of column A, a bit of column B at play.
Well, earlier on, you're talking about how you went from going to performing in front of no one when everything kind of first hit in the spring to making that jump to Thunderdome. How was that time off in between? Did it feel like a vacation, or was there any apprehension to come back just because of the niceness of no responsibility?
Well, there were some personal factors at play for why I didn't go as well. And I was actually willing to come back a couple of times. So I was going to come back in April almost for something that they specifically needed for me. I was specifically asked for something. And so I almost came back for that, but then they decided to go in a different direction. And then around June, I was in Canada at the time, and I was quarantined and all that stuff. And I had to quarantine 2 weeks in Canada and 2 weeks in the States before coming back. So I wouldn't have been available till like July. There was a plan for me to come in July, but then the outbreak happened. I think it was at the PC still at that time. So there was a big outbreak actually, and the numbers started soaring in Florida. And the numbers started increasing actually at WWE with some of the talent getting it and all that. So I was like, oh, let's hold off for maybe another little bit till we see how this all plays out. Wouldn't make much sense to take 3.5 months off and then come back in the middle of, of it actually being here. So there were a couple of times when I almost came back, but in the end, I think I came back at the right time and everything played out fine. What was your question again?
Oh man, I don't even remember. I lost it.
Something about
the time off.
Oh yeah. So the time off is good for me personally. I think it's great for everybody. It wasn't ideal. So it's not like I was off honeymooning and vacationing and all this stuff and traveling, which is what I would normally do with my time off. I'd be on the first plane to.
Your time off looked probably exactly like mine.
Yeah, it was, but you know what? That was nice too, because it was a complete 180 from the normal grind of a WWE schedule, which is 4 or 5 days on the road and occasionally tours, 2-week tours where you're on the road. So it was nice to be sedentary. But for me, I like being away from wrestling. I like being away from performance because it makes me miss it and it makes me want to come back. But that's also because I have the luxury of knowing that it's waiting for me on the other side. So anytime I've taken long breaks from wrestling, it's because I got hurt. And I knew I was going to come back. But when the day comes when I don't know for sure that there's a gig waiting for me on the other side, that might be a different conversation.
Well, and that's what I was going to bring up for people who aren't aware. The time off is not really a thing in a lot of facets of wrestling. So outside of injury, I suspect this was the most amount of time that you spent away from an actual ring. What do you That's a great thing. You know, I want to see you doing that next time you're on, like talking smack. Like you're getting asked questions and you start eating like a falafel. I want to know how they handle it.
This speaks to the level of comfort of our friendship.
Yeah, well, that's it's like part of me was thinking, like, you talked about the internet before. I'm like, you know what? It's crazy what the internet can do. Like, if this is like, there's no way I'm getting at some. Of course, it can't be Twitch because we're looking into the past. There's the idea of access to WWE superstars is a lot more simple now than it used to be, because I can't imagine, you know, a world where Bret Hart is on Off the Record with Michael Landsberg and he's talking about the screw job and he's like, well, yeah, you know, the thing is, and then he like picks up a ham sandwich and he starts eating it out of a paper bag.
Yeah. You know,
I'm glad you agree.
I was watching some show. It was a Canadian show. Maybe it's called The Social or something like that.
Yeah, it's the Canadian counterpart to The View.
It's got 4 women on Zoom, kind of.
Yeah, it's The View, but Canadian.
The one woman had her daughter over her shoulder, like I mean, on the mic, just in the shot. Not even attempting to say. It wasn't even an embarrassing thing.
Yeah,
you know, because you've seen that when the Zoom thing first started.
Yeah,
you'd have like really respectable specialists weighing in on the news or something, and then their kid would run in. You know, the wife embarrassed.
Yeah, the famous video of the little girl going into the shot like this.
I haven't seen that, but stuff like
you haven't seen that video?
No.
It's this like British guy, like, you know, like ABC News correspondent, one of those like types of guys. This little kid walks in doing this, and then the mom bursts in and like,
maybe I did see that. Maybe I did see
the kid, but then a different kid comes in too, and he's like like a baby on one of like those wheelie things, and the guy doesn't break at all. He keeps total character going. But then like there was like an outpouring, like, oh, this guy, he was so like cold, and then he did follow-up interviews where it's like, you see, I love my family. Maybe that's what this woman on The Social was avoiding.
Yeah, but I mean, it was all. I'll admit, it was off-putting.
Yeah, but it was Canadian.
Part of me was thinking, could you get your kid out of here?
Yeah, the thing that I find most.
Can you at least try to get your kid out of here? You're not even. This kid's running the show. I'm
more astounded that you sat down and were willingly watching The Social.
It was on in the background. It was just something, you know, I don't know. The television was on.
Yeah, well, it's. I'm glad to know that we've taken a dive into your TV habits, and despite having moved to Florida, you're supporting only the crappiest of Canadian content.
And to answer your initial question, I'm eating.
What was it again? I was thrown off by your muffin.
Well, it's not a muffin. That was the question.
Oh, yeah, this is the new initial. This is the real initial question now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You asked me what I was eating. It's a cookie.
Yeah.
That I recently discovered, and I've grown a taste for it, called an Anzac.
Okay.
It's a coconut oatmeal cookie.
Yeah.
And there's this place not far from me here that does them, and I've been eating a lot of them.
This really when you know we're starting to reach the low point of the conversation when the guest is on. He's like, yeah, I just discovered the cookie. Found this new thing, the cookie.
It's just a really good cookie. I'm not a big cookie. You know, I'm not a huge sweets guy.
Yeah,
I might be lying, actually. I don't know.
All of this
I
stuff
like it all.
This is going to appear on the wrestling gossip sites tomorrow. I can see the headline. Sami Zayn says, not a big sweets guy, reneges immediately. Like immediately retracts the statement. Well, I figure we've got a lot of wrestling fans watching right now, so I do want to talk a little bit about wrestling. Are you happy to be staying on SmackDown coming out of the 2020 draft?
Yeah, I am. I like SmackDown.
Yeah.
I'm doing this thing here, by the way, with my hat backwards. What do you think of that? I didn't even ask you that, and you didn't even comment on it.
Well, you didn't ask me to eat your goddamn cookie, but why would the hat be any different? You got your microphone is like squishing up against your beard.
I've undone it.
There's the next headline. Sami Zayn's hat shatters on Twitch show, embarrasses himself in front of 49 viewers.
Oh man.
Also lies about sweets.
See, because if I have the hat in the front, I feel like this casting this shadow over my face. So I'm doing this new thing.
Yeah, your new thing is turning your hat backwards. Hey, I invented this new thing. I wear my hat backwards. I've also started saying, dude. New thing. Hey guys, anyone want a Mountain Dew?
Yeah, my new thing is wearing my hat backwards.
Yeah.
But it's also for the lighting. It's a whole thing. Anyway, I'm laughing. I'm laughing now.
Yeah. So getting back to it, are you happy to be staying on? On what people in the business call Team Blue?
I do like it. I like the 2-hour format. I like the 2-hour show. 3 hours is long. And in some ways it creates more opportunity. You could be on the show more and all that. But I don't know. I think I'm doing really good work now on SmackDown. I think I'm actually, which is weird to say because I'm 18 years in, almost 19 years in now. And, my body's taken quite a toll over that time. I've done some crazy things over that time. And weirdly enough, I feel like I'm doing maybe my best work ever now.
Yeah.
I don't know. You've actually pretty much seen my whole career, so I don't know what your take is.
I've seen you from the Legions in Valleyfield, Quebec, to the high school gyms in Bois des Filions, to the bigger high school gyms in Rahway, New Jersey, all the way to the Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec. I saw you perform in a baseball stadium, open air in Buffalo, New York, surrounded by bees.
Bees?
There were bees everywhere, man.
I don't remember that. I remember
because you were in the ring. You were in some like really convoluted 6-way match.
Yeah. Trent Acid was in that match.
Oh yeah. I'm about to talk about that. Trent Acid is no longer with us.
Yes.
Sadly.
God rest his soul.
There's moments in wrestling matches when the fan who might not know wrestling, they don't know that a mistake has happened. Whereas people who have the luxury of knowing the wrestling world, myself, we're able to go, no one noticed, but it was obvious there was a mess up. On this occasion, everyone noticed because it was like a 6-person elimination match. He got pinned by accident. The 3 count, he kept wrestling just to be pinned again. And that in its essence explains independent wrestling, where it's like, I don't know, man. I had to get that reverse Rana in.
It's funny, but that was Trent Acid at his worst with he had a lot of drug problems, all kinds of personal problems. That was him, I think, really off the rails. But I mean, it is comedic. I don't know. I think it is pretty funny.
Of course, and we're not speaking ill of the it's more of a statement about independent wrestling.
I think I have a vague memory. And part of why that happened was because we were trying to put the match together and he was nowhere to be found. Mm-hmm. And I want to say your memory's way better than mine. You're up there with Tyson Kidd, TJ Wilson for the most incredible memories in wrestling. So you might remember better. Did he show up late in the match?
Yeah, I think he was a last-minute addition to the match.
That's not even what I mean. I mean, the match was underway and then he joined the match.
There was, I believe that you're correct. There was something unusual that happened outside of him getting eliminated twice. Well,
man, there was a lot going on there. There was the Brutus Beefcake fan.
Yeah, this whole evening,
many stories.
I knew that being at this show in Buffalo, New York, the grayest city that I've ever visited, when you're being surrounded by these bees, it's like that should be an omen that things are going to get weird. And we've talked about this story in front of live audiences. You somehow snuck me into, I guess it was a party limo to an after party. And this show was like one of those classic independent wrestling stars blended in with WWE legends of yesteryear. We're sitting in there and you're talking to the Doctor of Style, Slick, telling him about how you took a limo just like this to the prom. And he couldn't have been any more disinterested.
Really? I remember him being enthralled.
Well, enthralled is a gross overstatement.
Well, maybe it is, but I remember him engaging, like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah, but it was like
I don't remember it being disingenuous. I remember
it was like the same level of engagement that adults shows a child when they show them like a picture that they just drew.
To be fair, I was doing it to make you laugh.
And it did. It did.
Yeah.
That's when we got to the after party, and there was one of the weirdest standoffs.
Oh, man. I can't even tell the story.
Now, I don't know if this is engaging.
I'll never do it justice, and
Yeah,
I don't think it translates. It's one of those stories you kind of have to tell in person.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if in person it translates, but there's this app. It was like a classic, like, guy who probably shouldn't be running wrestling shows. The ones that always like, I'm just gonna do a bunch of, there's gonna be an after party.
Yeah,
We're gonna have it catered, everything you want. There's gonna be cars. And by the end of the night, it's like, look, I can't pay for the hotel. Anyways, we're sitting at this communal table.
But hang on a second.
Yes.
I think it's called, what is it? Base brawl park?
Base brawl, which I think was a recurring event.
That's what I'm saying. It was an institution. Many great wrestlers have passed through there.
Yes, including Brutus the Barber Beefcake, notoriously known for being the wrestling barber and Hulk Hogan's friend. So we're sitting at this table, and above us is a platform that you require 2 to 3 steps to stand up on. So if you're sitting there, close your eyes. Imagine you're sitting at a long table. To your left on a platform is Brutus the Barber Beefcake. To your right is a fan.
To the right, though, there is a velvet rope that sections off the the fans or the VIP fans and the wrestlers. And we were sitting at this table directly between, on our right, the platform with an elevated Brutus Beefcake hovering over our table.
And then over
immediately
here
to the left, this fan.
This wrestling fan. And Brutus is kind of like, he's still a big guy.
Yeah.
He's kind of like looking around the room. And we're just like, why is Brutus Beefcake just standing here, man? And then that's when this fan utters the famous line. After moments of silence, looks up to a platform risen Brutus Beefcake, and he says, "It's been a long time, Brutus." Which sounds like he was challenging him to some type of confrontation.
I don't know if my memory has warped this story, but I remember it having a real confrontation, like Mexican standoff vibe. And we were eating, and we were caught between these two, and it was like as if there was a gun there by his side.
It was like old gunslingers, yeah.
Brutus, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And he looked immediately annoyed, Brutus.
Yeah.
And the way you talk about Brutus looking around, again, this might be my memory filling in the gaps. I remember it was almost in a way like he was looking for attention, and then maybe from a woman, I don't know. And then the attention he ended up getting was from this fan, and he was instantly annoyed. As soon as this guy said Brutus, long time, he's like, oh.
Yeah, Brutus just like nods and starts looking around, but later on they have a second confrontation when the same fan.
Not later on, it's immediately after.
Well, I remember Brutus being off the platform. And
No. It was on the platform. That's what made it so funny. He says, Brutus, long time.
See, this is where I'm gonna have to. I'm pulling the red card where it's like this. It happens later on where the fan walks up to him and asks him if he can sign some stuff, and that's when Brutus.
He asked him right there. That was the whole thing. He goes,
"Look, if you were at this event in Buffalo, New York, chime in." He asked Brutus, "Hey man, can you sign some stuff for me?" And that's when Brutus gets his revenge, and he goes, "You want me to sign the stuff?"
No eye contact. Very important. He looking away.
"You want me to sign some stuff? I'm drinking the Captain and Diet. You want something from me? I want something from you." So this guy started charging fans drinks to sign his fake wrestler name.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know if it's as funny as we remember it being now that we're telling this story, but
we're
experiencing it was one of the funniest things.
This is one of those moments that it would be there would be more justice done to it on one of those episodes of Story Time on the WWE Network.
Yeah.
Folks, if you're just tuning in, I am James. You're at home with James right here on twitch.tv/@home-with-James. We do this show, an evening of comedy and conversation every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, sometimes Sunday mornings, sometimes Sunday nights, right here, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm here with WWE Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn. We're talking about old times in wrestling, but now's the opportunity. If you are active in the chat, I've seen some rumblings. If you have any questions, send them in. We will get to as many of them as we can. Sami, as we're waiting for questions to start to seep in, I would like to know if you would like to continue to help spread the word about Sami for Syria.
Oh yeah, thanks for asking about it. I mean, what exactly would you like to know?
For anyone who might not be hip to the scene of what you're doing, this really, really great initiative that you've had going on for the past couple of years, let them know about it and what they can do.
Okay, so in short, I'll kind of just bring you all up to speed. So I'm working with an organization called SAMS, the Syrian American Medical Society. I've launched a fundraising campaign called Sami for Syria, and essentially what it is it raises all this money to basically be able to launch a mobile clinic in Syria, on the ground in war-torn Syria, that basically delivers primary medical care to this clinic that drives up to internally displaced populations who are living in tents and camps and things like that, or in rural areas where they have no access to healthcare. And this is something that I first sort of took this initiative in 2017, but it is ongoing, I should say, right now. So it actually launched, we did a campaign to raise money and launch a new clinic. It has been up and running since the start of July. And so we're still taking donations. Any donations you can give over at SamiForSyria.com are going to stocking medications, paying the medical staff, and just keeping the operational costs, covering the operational costs of this mobile clinic. So if anybody who's watching this hasn't heard of it, please check it out. It's SamiForSyria.com. There's some videos and some information on there. And actually, I've been meaning to touch in with the lady there to get a little update, because I know when we first launched, it was seeing, I don't even want to throw numbers out there because I'm forgetting them now, but it was seeing a lot of patients when it first launched up in July earlier of this year. So I'm waiting to get another update, but anything you can do help. Every little dollar goes a really long way. And the thing that I really like about it, and I think this is the thing that makes people a little apprehensive about donating to charities sometimes, especially big charities like the Red Cross or the Cancer Society or Heart and Stroke Foundation, these really, really big charities which do amazing work, not taking anything away from them, but you don't really know exactly where your money's going. They're so big that people sometimes, I think, feel as though their money is a drop in a big bucket. Whereas with this, you can see the tangible physical results of your donation. You know what I mean? There's no clinic. You raise the money. Here's the clinic. Here's the medical services. Here's the pictures. Here's the people getting help. You can there's a very direct line from donation to the result, which is something that really I appreciate. Hopefully the donors get some feeling of joy or something out of seeing their money at work. So if you haven't already, SamiForSyria.com, and thank you for asking me about it.
Of course, I'm glad you're able to share that as well. Sami, you want to take some rapid fire questions from our universe? Ready for
go? Yeah.
Okay, so these ones they're going to kind of blend in because we got a couple questions here regarding El Generico. So coming to us from Fabi21198 as well as Nick Basslock. What was the last time
you saw username?
These are usernames. There's only so many of them left. When was the last time you saw El Generico? Also, please give us an update on El Generico.
As far as I can remember, I think I last saw him in Florida 2013, early 2013. I believe this is when he's heading down to Tijuana. He's called it a day in his wrestling career. He's on his way to Tijuana. He makes a quick stop in Florida at FCW or NXT, early NXT, and inexplicably decides to come to the ring with Brodus Clay. And what was her name? This big Russian girl worked at developmental there for a minute. Anya. Anya and Brodus Clay, and for whatever reason, he came out to the ring with Brodus Clay that night, and that's it. And then he disappeared. He got into the car. He went to Tijuana, never to be seen from again. I've heard there's murmurs that he's dead. I can assure you he's not dead.
Which, if he is dead, then we know that he immediately is going to make Dave's favorite wrestler list. Once he sees like on like Yahoo News, like, hey, a wrestler died, I'm going to backtrack and see their stuff.
Yeah. No, he's alive. So Dave could have waited another couple of years.
Great. Another question coming in from Hypatias. Memories of C4 Wrestling. And this is a promotion based out of Ottawa.
I think you would have more amazing C4 memories than I would.
Yeah, this is where I allege that the birth of the Sami Zayn character was created because I was doing it 2 years before you.
Which aspect?
Oh, dude, this is a I think we may have lost Sammy. We're gonna figure back.
Am I
in.
Back? I got.
I was doing Sami Zayn before Sami Zayn was doing the angsty, unappreciated flank jacket, toque wearing, angry, disrespected vigilante. This is something that's discussed a little bit amongst the boys here.
I'm gonna plead ignorance. I
agree.
Maybe it's a case of great minds thinking alike.
Great. Hey, look, from one artist to another, and may I say, I had been using that moniker in C4 years prior to you.
What moniker?
Calling myself an artist.
Wow. I mean,
no other wrestler had. Come on now.
Shinsuke is called the artist. I was piggybacking.
I was doing it before him. He probably
That's
saw
right.
C4.
He was probably watching his C4 DVDs.
Yeah.
And said, "Oh, this is good."
He was probably watching. He goes, "Man, this guy sucks, but what a nickname."
But you had killer heat. So here's the thing about my C4 experience. I was so busy because I have a real lust for traveling and adventure and all this stuff.
You're a very lusty guy.
Yeah, I think I was trying to say lust for life.
Yeah.
I said lust for traveling, and it doesn't work. That's not.
So there's the next Sami Zayn gets horny on road trips. Confirmed on Little Twitch show featuring his little friend.
Yeah, I just shouldn't have used the word lust in there. Didn't add up. Now you're just all right. Okay. I enjoyed traveling, and it was always a thing for me. Wrestling was a vehicle to travel and have all these great adventures. And so there's very few places that I really could even come close to calling a home promotion.
Yep.
Because I just worked everywhere, and that was by design. I wanted to work everywhere. So I would do C4 every chance I got, but I wasn't a regular. And I remember there was a time period in there where you and Neil,
otherwise known to fans of CZW Jersey All Pro as Beef Wellington.
Great guy. I still keep in touch with him. I remember, you and Beef Wellington and some of the guys, the Montreal crew that would make those drives were kind of saying like there was a time period, and this isn't me disparaging the C4 crowd. I thought they were awesome. There was a time period where they were starting to get a rep, at least in the Montreal car. Real.
I'll tell you what,
fans.
I loved him from start to finish. I loved him.
But wasn't there a time period where they were either like really rowdy or verbally abusive or something?
Verbally abusive. There's been different stages of that fan base. Like they really targeted on Big Magic, otherwise known as Matt Martell, who one fan referred to as referred to him kind of compared him to Jim Neidhart, also is no longer with us. He referred to him, quote, as you're like the fat effing Neidhart, which I can't tell really who it's insulting at that point. It's just kind of insulting a lot of people.
It's generally insulting.
The fans, I love the fans in C4. They're rowdy. It's kind of like
awesome.
It's that type of heat where you feel like, oh man, something bad might happen.
So when you were doing your thing, I wasn't really.
No, you were gone,
C4.
bro.
I think I was already gone.
You were gone.
Yeah, so I missed out on some pretty hot.
Which is a fantastic cover if you were stealing anyone's character. Oh, I was gone. Oh, me? No, I was in Florida, man. I was in Florida So there's a
An
C4
alibi.
story.
Yeah.
Here's a name from
But
the
I
past.
love C4. I love C4.
From the past, wants to say hi. Dave Jansen's, otherwise known as Senior Official Becca, is saying hello in the chat.
Love you, Becca.
This is a long story. I want to see if we can get a condensed version coming from Casmarius. Can we get Sammy's version of the story about almost meeting Axl Rose?
Oh man, it's
well,
too
you did
long,
meet him.
but-
You did
but
meet him.
I did meet him, and get this. This is some weird cosmic stuff. I haven't heard from Cliff Compton in probably a couple of years now.
Mhm.
And he texted me today, a link of him telling the Axl Rose story.
Yeah.
So it's on YouTube. What I'll do, instead of butchering it or trying to remember it poorly or condense it to not give you all the adequate details, look up Cliff Compton. I want to say it's on the Kevin Steen show. So it's on a High Spots uploaded it. I think it's on YouTube. Look up Cliff Compton telling the story of me meeting Axl Rose. But
we'll do a little sample here.
Long story short, it doesn't end well.
Yeah, it doesn't end well. It might involve wanting a picture with the front man of Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Not a question.
After he had just worked his ass off for a 3-hour set, barely had time to catch his breath, was lounging in
a sexy robe.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't.
All right.
When you say sexy robe, that implies like silk or satin kind of flowing. It was a bathrobe, man.
Oh, so like kind of like terry cloth.
It was a towel robe, like you have at the hotel. I think he was about to hop in the shower is what happened.
Yeah.
And then we showed up. So you can only imagine the mood he was in.
Great.
You know?
So if you want to find that, you can find it by way of the Kevin Owens Show featuring Cliff Compton, correct?
Yeah. And it was great hearing from Cliff. Nice to hear from old friends.
This coming into us on the chat, not so much a question, but a very nice comment coming from Cool678. Sami Zayn is the best ever. Great talker, great look, and great wrestler. You need to be world champion. I'd like to take credit because you took my look. Except now you've not only stolen my character, you're wearing the Bushwhackers pants.
Yeah, I feel like I need better pants. I like the jacket.
Yeah, you don't want to be the guy that tries to make cargo pants cool.
I think Jeff Hardy's got that corner market.
I've always thought
he's still pulling it off.
Look, he's great exactly the way he is. What I want, if I was writing for WWE, I'd say, I think we got to get some change in the pants. So when he takes a bump, dimes and nickels start falling out. Gum, maybe like some gum drops out.
Is he constantly flustered by the things falling out? Like, oh man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's like, we got that. Now this is
just like, I'm so sorry. I should have taken this out before the match. I don't know why I keep doing this.
Like maybe like a vape falls out or something like that. And I like Randy Orton steps on the vape or something. That's what starts the feud. Look, if there was a feud about Kurt Angle spilling milk on the Undertaker's motorcycle, we can certainly have a wrestler whose vape gets stolen. That's my idea. That's how I'd run things in WWE.
Let me run that up the ladder and just see maybe. So if you see it on TV, you heard it here first. You know where it came from. But
the good thing is, you know that you can co-opt that idea because you also wear. And they're not even bushwhacker pants. They're more like Colonel Mustafa. Or
I was kind of going for a Sabu type look. Those really baggy pants that are kind of tucked in.
You missed the mark, bro.
Not quite there.
This next question coming in from Bayo Lexus. When are you and Kevin going to work together again? Of course, Kevin Owens. As allies or friends, we need more of the Sami and Kevin show. You guys are on the same show now. Your worlds collide once again.
Yeah, so I think it's an inevitability now that we're on the same show. But if I'm being perfectly honest, I feel like this is the first time in a while where I'm really doing my own thing that's not tied to Kevin on the main roster.
And that's a good thing.
I think it is a good thing. And I'd love to continue with it and just kind of see where it goes before we inevitably do end up either as friends or enemies, or friends then enemies, or enemies then friends, which is an inevitability if Kevin and I are ever around each other. But so I'm really into what I'm doing right now. And I really have so much fun working with Kevin. We've had, more great matches together in our history than most people ever get to have ever. We have really great chemistry. We in the ring and on the mic and all that stuff. that being said, I don't really remember a time since I came up in the main roster in 2016 where I didn't have something to kind of do with him until now. And I'm really, it just happens to be going really well for me. So I know it's going to happen eventually, but I'm really kind of curious to see where this all lands before we inevitably get back there.
And then we got another question very similar coming in from Anime Gamers. So I hope that answers your question. This next one coming in from Mani Masij. How's your shoulder holding up, Sammy?
Oh, great. Great. Both of them were great. Because
you know, did you not see him eating that cookie out of the bag? It takes a lot of physical
just in case there was any doubt, I gave you one of these.
Yeah.
So that's the international sign for my shoulders are doing great.
Yeah, they're both in good shape. This one might cause some headlines. Real Sid Rock, Sammy, thoughts on Jim Cornette, your former superior?
Look, I'll give him credit for this. People are still asking about him to this day. And there's this misnomer that I don't like him or that I hate him or that he hates me. I really don't know how true any of that is. I don't really have anything against him. The truth is, when I got to Ring of Honor, when I was in Ring of Honor, he showed up, I should say.
Yeah.
I was so excited to work with him. I had great respect for his mind and his ability and everything. And I just found that he didn't care about us. Myself, Kevin, that whole storyline, with Colt and Carino, we just got this distinct feeling that we were not his priority. Yeah. And this is the first taste of like big time wrestling that I ever really got, which is pretty crazy because I think I was like almost 10 years into my career, if not, no, maybe more, 7 or 8 years. And it was really still super pure, super innocent, just like friends having fun and not really worried about the booker doesn't like me and you're not in good favor. I'd never really experienced that kind of stuff. It used to just be like, let's book awesome matches with awesome talent. That was the first 8 or 9 years of my career. And if you were putting on great matches, you were going to get, more great matches, more great opponents.
Sure.
So with Cornette coming around, it was kind of the first time where we had the distinct feeling that he did not care about our program. Sure. Or I don't even want to say don't care, because by the time, maybe I remember it was September, we were doing some sort of chain match or something like that. And he was pretty involved in that. It was the first time he showed any interest in us, but this was, at that point, there was just this, hard to explain. Long story short, my feelings were hurt because here was this guy that I really respected. And I thought, he had a great mind and all this stuff. And I was really looking forward, and it just felt like he didn't care about us.
Sure.
And that's about it. And I'm sure he thought I was a pain in the ass, because if I don't feel like you really care about me, I could probably come off that way. And I don't know. I don't really have bad things to say. Whatever. It was 10 years ago. I don't know. But again, I hope I'm never, and I don't mean this in a way that's directly insulting to him. I hope I'm never him, in that I don't want to be around 30 years after I'm done and like still griping about the new crop of wrestlers or how the wrestling business is going. I don't want to be like that. If I'm ever like that, slap me upside the head. I don't want to be that guy.
Man, he's doing
something right, because it is 20, 30 years since he's been out of the business, and he's still getting, I just talked about him for 6-7 minutes. So fair play to him.
Yeah. And now someone's going to send him this clip, and the guy's going to make fun of me on his podcast.
Yeah, he's talking to his little nerdy friend. Whose accent am I doing?
I think you're doing Ned Flanders. We got time for a few more. That question came from Sid Rock, who also has breaking news. D-list Montreal comedian claims credit for Sami Zayn character. We're going to try to blast through as many as we can. Okay, I know the answer to this from Bradwood21. Who came up with the idea to handcuff Jeff Hardy's ear to the ladder?
I wish I could say it was me. It wasn't. Yep. It was Jamie Noble.
Yeah.
Jamie Noble is a really, really great producer. And I don't know if he gets the credit he deserves. I don't even know if people know what producers do or whatever, but he's just a great mind to have around. And he helped a lot with that match. And that was one of his definitely the biggest contributing idea, I think, in that match. He's great.
This one coming in from Skooma Diver 1. Are you going to go for the tag team championships at some point in your career? Do you have any ambition to veer into the world of tag team wrestling again?
I would love to eventually win the tag team titles with Kevin. I think that's at some point we have to do that, right? Okay. I mean, it's got to. Yeah, that's kind of like a bucket list thing for me in WWE.
Yeah. Next question, Sammy. Did you get in trouble for bringing up AEW in the hot seat?
Yeah, a little bit, but it's kind of a long story. But I don't think they cared. I don't think the problem was in that I mentioned AEW, but in the context and how I mentioned it.
Sure.
Or that there was some expectancy because this was right after they did their big first pay-per-view, All Out or All In, or one of those big ones. And so it was really on everybody's mind. It was like everybody's going to be, and they introduced this talk show that was legitimately unscripted, and the fans are going to ask anything they want.
Yeah.
And so, it wasn't that there was the plan to bring up AEW, but there was the obvious reality that somebody is probably going to ask this question because it was right on the front of every wrestling fan's mind. And so I just said, okay, I have an answer kind of prepared in case that comes up. And weirdly enough,
you were feeling a little lustful.
A little lusty out
Yeah.
there. And it didn't come up. And then the point of this segment was to be edgy, and to be controversial and to blur those lines. And the questions that came to me that night just didn't really do that. And I took it upon myself to make it memorable and to make it edgy.
Yeah.
And I definitely, I got an earful a little bit for it, but I think it kind of worked because we're still talking about it.
Yeah,
now.
it worked in the sense that the segment began and ended once. They never brought the segment back. Next question, once again, from Anime Gamer. This is an interesting one. Sammy, if there was another mixed match challenge, which female wrestler would you pick as your partner?
God, I don't know. I mean, for me, it's Becky, but she's kind of, it would
Pregnant.
be wrong.
Yeah.
It would be wrong now. I mean, she's with Seth and all that. It would be weird. I don't know. Bailey, maybe?
Okay, that could work.
Yeah. There's some similarities there in the characters.
Another nice comment coming in from Sab23. Just wanted to say I'm a huge fan of yours, Sammy. Hope you're doing well. Would love to hear you start up a podcast and share your insights on a variety of things.
Yeah, that might happen one day.
This is another interesting one, once again, from Hypietas. What is your favorite WWE pay-per-view from the big four shows and why? So I guess we're not going to give any love to Judgment Day.
Oh.
No love for Backlash.
Of the big four, I don't know. The Rumble's always fun. WrestleMania's obviously a big deal. But it depends because I've had a lot of very different WrestleMania experiences. It's been a real mixed bag. So I can't even say for sure WrestleMania is the best one because I've had 4 or 5 very different experiences every time. But
I want to see you lead the charge of a classic Survivor Series team where everyone wears the same parachute pants.
That'd be great. Everyone comes out in the same sort of like.
You'd have to have like one of the classic names too, like Sammy Squad or something like that.
Yeah.
The Zayn Train.
What are we now? November is around the corner. But I'm the champion. And if I remain the champion, I'll be in one of those promotional championship.
It's gonna be you and your buddy Bob again in a month of Survivor Series. Here's we only have time for a couple more questions. Ateric M, huge fan from Egypt. I was wondering, what's your favorite movie that you've seen recently? I saw your tweet about Honey Boy, and I was wondering if you had any other recommendations.
Yeah, so I just watched Almost Famous last night, and that's really just one of my favorite movies. You could watch that. I don't know how many times I've seen it, but that's a great movie for rewatchability. But the movie that I saw recently that floored me, and I don't know if we talked about this, maybe not, but it absolutely floored me. It's my favorite movie I've seen in years. It's
Night at the Roxbury.
Have you heard of this? That would be something I'd say because I always find out about good stuff years late.
Yeah.
But no, Jojo Rabbit. Did we talk about Jojo Rabbit?
No, we haven't, but I'm aware of its existence.
Oh, God, dude, watch it. It's unbelievable. It's everything. And I love everything. I love when so many elements, that's what I love about wrestling is when you get a bit of character stuff, when you get some athletic work, some cool spots, some great storytelling, some dramatics. That's what to me it's that cocktail. And this Jojo Rabbit, I mean, it checks every single box imaginable. It's just so good. My favorite new movie I've seen in years.
Well, to our friend out there in Egypt, that is your answer, Jojo Rabbit. Folks, if you're enjoying what you're watching, please feel free to follow and subscribe right here on twitch.tv/Adam with James. Sammy, if I could keep you for one final segment, there's something that I feel like I'd be remiss if we didn't do. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to bring in our tech for the night, Dave the Big Rig Kaufman. Dave is a very funny guy. He is a comedian. He is a new father. He's wearing a purple hoodie right now. He's the technical director of this show. As we've discussed, Dave, you only enjoy deceased wrestlers.
Yeah. I like him dead.
Yeah, that's coincidental. Right?
Coincidentally,
I mean,
yeah.
It's coincidental.
And this talk really brought me back to the good old days. You know?
And also, just if there's anyone in the chat right now who's got any questions for Dave, he'd love to hear from them. Dave, what movies have you been enjoying recently?
It's a great question. I recently watched the new Adam Sandler flick. Great stuff.
Okay, Dave's on a real disingenuous roll. Now, Sammy, the WWE draft just passed.
Wait. Dave, did you see Jojo Rabbit?
I did. I saw it in theaters back when that was a thing. And it was great.
Did you cry?
I didn't cry, but I did enjoy it immensely. I liked it. I liked all the characters. I liked the cute little chubby kid.
Oh,
he was fantastic. Yeah.
Do you have some sort of emotional repression?
What do you mean?
I'm going to say yes on behalf of Dave. Yeah. If you could see his emotional range right now where everything comes out sarcastic or facetious, the answer is yes.
What are you suggesting?
Yeah. I don't know what deep trauma, emotional trauma you're dealing with, but for you to have that barrier to not cry to Jojo Rabbit, it suggests to me that maybe you should talk to somebody.
It was a comedy, right?
It's yes, but it pulls at the heartstrings, and you know it. You know it. Okay.
Yeah, Sammy, you're rattling Dave. If the feed cuts anyone watching, you'll know why. The WWE 2020 draft just ended. I would like to do something that has never been done before. Right here on At Home with James, we are about to have the inaugural 2020 Deceased Wrestler Fantasy Draft, where you each get a series of picks to put together your ideal wrestling roster comprised of deceased classic wrestlers. All right. And extra points if they were overweight.
Wait, we're putting our dream Survivor Series teams?
No, I didn't say that at all.
I'm not going to lie to you. While you were talking, I drifted away a little bit.
Yeah, that was very clear. That was very clear. But you know what? I
was thinking about Dave.
I was thinking about him.
Cry at Jojo Rabbit.
Well, so
I honestly trailed off while you were talking. I'm sorry.
This is what we're gonna do. As mentioned, now I have to repeat this for everyone in the chat. They're just like,
I'm sorry. My bad.
Sammy, get back to Sammy. Why am I degrading our viewers? We are gonna have the first ever 2020 deceased wrestler draft. You each get 4 picks that you will then use to build your own unique Survivor Series team in a fantasy world. These teams will be going head to head, comprised solely of deceased classic wrestlers. Again, advantage to overweight wrestlers. Now, since you are our guest, Sammy, I'm going to give you the first overall pick.
Okay. Macho Man Randy Savage.
Okay, so immediately you're deciding I'm not going to go overweight.
No.
Okay, so with the first overall pick,
I'm going to go with the guys that I was a fan of, and then I want Dave to go with the guys that he was a fan of, and then we can compare and contrast the teams and just see what our sensibilities are like.
So if you're watching, this episode's going to go on until midnight. If we're comparing and contrasting dead wrestlers. So the first overall pick, Sami Zayn has selected the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Dave, you're on the clock.
I've got one word for you, James. And that word, Vader.
Okay, so you got his hand signal a little wrong. You're going to want to put that thumb in. This is a crab claw or some type of stuff. So you're
James, I'm going with Vader.
Okay, so according to Dave, it's Vader time. He has taken his first pick. Sammy, we're going to send it back to you for your second pick.
All right, second pick, I'm going Owen Hart.
Owen Hart. Okay, great. Once again, not overweight.
Yeah, slim and trim.
Slim and trim, which is also my nickname as a wrestler. Dave, we're sending it back to you for your second overall pick.
Got 2 wrestlers in my mind right now.
Well, you have 4 more picks, so you can use both.
All right.
I'll be careful because I might steal them.
Yeah,
that's
true.
right. That's what I'm worried about it. I got one word for you, James.
Yep.
Yokozuna.
Yokozuna, the classic signal for Y. That's the letter Y.
Was that a Y? I thought it was a
Y.
peace sign.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of people read, like, they've been doing this at Woodstock, but it was actually, hey, man, I love Yokozuna.
Yeah.
Okay, Sammy, let's send it back to you for your third overall pick.
Let's go with Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. That's a great pick. Dave, we're going to send it back to you. At this point, you have exclusively selected overweight wrestlers. Sammy has selected no overweight wrestlers. Who's your next pick? Because I suspect you're running out of wrestlers.
I'm going Chris Benoit.
Okay, you're going to go with... So not overweight.
Yeah.
So Dave's gone off the board. Dave has gone off the board. Sammy, your next pick.
Well, just in case Dave tries to nab him before it's too late,
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the recently deceased Kamala.
Okay. So you're picking your first overweight wrestler.
Yes, I need a little bit of diversity on the team.
Yeah, that's a wise choice.
But different body shapes, different body sizes, different cultural backgrounds.
Yes,
the whole gamut.
Yeah.
Okay.
The question. Oh yeah. So yeah, I was gonna say the question is, would his character be politically correct during this climate?
Obviously not.
Yeah, obviously not. Dave, I want to know how you're gonna follow.
It actually is insane that it even took place into the 90s.
Isn't wrestling is a sideshow.
I mean, when you think about it.
Yeah, I don't have to think very hard about it. Dave, I want to know how you're going to follow up your last controversial pick.
I'm going with the biggest wrestler of all time, Andre.
Yeah, the Giant.
Damn, that's good.
Okay,
that's
so
good.
tall and overweight. Andre the Giant. We're going to give each one of you a bonus pick. So you're going to round out your Survivor Series. You're going to round out your Survivor Series teams. Well, Dave, don't worry. You have enough time to Google someone. Sammy, your final pick. Who is it?
I don't know.
It's almost shocking that you can't come up with any other.
No, I don't know. I don't know who to pick. Let's go with.
How about a woman?
Dead woman?
Yeah.
I think.
Well, you got the Macho Man on your team, so.
Oh, Miss Elizabeth, she didn't really wrestle.
She's more of a manager. Well,
yeah.
Oh, I got one.
Okay, so I suspect Dave is going to be taking Miss Elizabeth.
Let me take Davey Boy Smith.
Okay, so you're going to be taking the British Bulldog.
That's right.
Davey Boy Smith. And then Dave, your final pick in the 2020 deceased wrestler draft is China. Okay, so again, you've gone off the board. Let's recap these teams. On Sammy's team, you've got a very well-rounded squad that includes the Macho Man Randy Savage, Owen Hart, Mr. Perfect, Kamala, and the British Bulldog.
What's Kamala known for?
Kamala's sort of the odd man out in that group a little bit.
Yeah, to put it lightly. Now, Dave has got himself an even more eccentric team that includes Vader, Yokozuna, Chris Benoit, Andre the Giant, who I have accidentally written Giart, and China.
It's actually a great team.
It's not a bad team.
Yeah.
What can I say? I'm a huge wrestling fan.
Yeah, we got a huge wrestling fan. I want to thank all of the wrestling fans who joined us in the chat tonight. We appreciate you stopping by. We hope that you'll join us on Friday night when we return right here at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Connor Rose is going to be here. Raylan Carson, by way of Vancouver, British Columbia, very funny comedian, will be here. Sami Zayn, we did it.
We did. We sure did. And we thought we had
James,
nothing to talk about.
Oh,
sorry to interrupt, Sammy.
Oh, that's okay.
But were there any questions for me in the chat?
well, there was one chat. Someone asked, what would your wrestling name be?
Dave.
Pretty sad that I advertised you as a comedian on your way into this segment. I said, very funny comedian. It
could work.
The comedian.
Oh, Dave? Yeah. What do you think about that name, Sammy? I mean, it's terrible.
We've had some pretty bad names that have done okay.
Yeah. I mean, look, on paper, The Rock is unusual.
The Rock is silly, actually.
Yeah.
So what is that?
Yeah.
You know, The Knife.
It's a movie.
Could be anything. Yeah.
Yeah. It is a movie. Was this from Sean Connery?
Yeah. Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. The comedian? What was it? Dave the comedian?
Dave the comedian.
I like just Dave.
Just Dave. If you have to come up with a trademark slogan, Dave, you're doing a promo in front of a packed crowd. How do you close this thing out?
Okay.
Giggling nervously.
This is Dave the comedian. And you ain't in Wendy's anymore.
Oh, so there's a reference to Dave Thomas, the founder of Wendy's.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, Sammy, as a pro wrestler who has to talk for a living, how do you grade that?
Very poorly.
Very poorly.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, thanks for your contributions tonight. Thank you for that team. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome.
Sammy, man, I hope we can do this again, dude.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, again, anytime you want to come on here and eat food on the show, would be
Maybe that
great.
could be a segment on the show. Maybe I'm not the guest of the whole show, but you just cut to me at certain points.
Yeah, I like an idea of you being in a smaller square in the corner of the screen, just eating food and kind of veering away to look at your phone periodically. Well, look, man, I'm really grateful that you were able to pop on tonight, man.
Yeah, man.
I wasn't sure we were going to make it happen given the current difficult and uncertain circumstances, but I'm really happy that we were able to do this and have a laugh together, dude. Yeah,
we haven't hung out like this in a while.
No. Last time we hung out, I was telling you about some downturns in my life that you promptly forgot. Which is,
I got confused by the timeline.
Yeah, the timeline of 2 to 3 years, but that's fine. That's
Hang
fine.
on. Also,
first you forget my stories, then you steal my wrestling gimmick.
Was it when we went for coffee in St. Henry? Was that the last time?
Yeah. I went to a hardware store with you.
Yeah. I remember I really embarrassed you that time. Do you remember? I actually made the blush.
Yeah.
When that girl came in and you had just said anyone who doesn't live in this neighborhood's a loser.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah,
and
I did say that.
This girl came in and I don't remember why she was in the conversation somehow.
Yeah.
I think that the barista asked her if she lived in the neighborhood.
Sure.
And she said she used to, and she moved. And then I interjected with, hey, well, you know what this guy just said?
Yeah. In front of the whole coffee shop.
That if you don't live in this neighborhood, you're a loser.
Yeah. I go there all the time. They haven't been friendly to me.
Fun. It's very hard to make you embarrassed, and that was one of the few
that
times
did it.
I
Yeah,
ever
that
got
did
you.
it.
Yeah.
That
Very,
did it. But I'm feeling nothing but warmth and gratitude right now, man. So I want to thank you so much for being on the show, and I'm sure I'll text you about hockey in anywhere from 2 to 10 hours.
Are you seeing my signs here?
Yeah. I'm seeing. What does that one stand for? This is the international. This is the Rock's hand signal because it's a bull. Yeah.
Let's rock. Yeah.
Like you had to sneak that in. You seen my hand signs, man? Then that's the next headline. WWE Superstar Sami Zayn desperately attempts to prolong Twitch interview.
I love to rock, man.
Yeah, I love to rock too, man. Thanks so much, Sammy.
Yeah, man. All right, talk soon.
Folks, thanks so much for being here tonight. We went overtime. We do that sometimes right here on the show. If you're new to the show, I want to thank you so much for being here. I hope you had a good time. I've known Sammy for 18 years now, and in that span of 18 years, he has been holding on to my copy of 1995's WCW Slamboree for 18 years. We are close personal friends. I love him. I wish him nothing but the best. I hope we can get him on soon again. I thank you so much for being here. Before you leave, don't hesitate to send us a follow or a subscription. Come back. We do comedy every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with conversation just like you saw, including Dave, a host of others that are local to Montreal, but across Canada too. Until then, once again, I appreciate you. Have yourself a good night. We'll see you back here on Friday. I am James. You are you. We were here. Good night. Goodbye. Farewell. And be well.